Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and Beto O'Rourke are the top Democratic contenders in a new 2020 Iowa poll. The trio besting Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, and 20 other contenders among caucus goers. And one of those potential candidates is worried a lack of diversity could hurt the party in 2020.
I aspire for our country to recognize the beauty of our diversity in some point in the future. And I hope someday we have a woman president. I love the fact that Barack Obama was our president for 8 years. I hope more people of color not only aspire and win the presidency.
Democratic Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. Time now for tonight's Power Panel. Democratic strategist Isaac Wright, Fox News contributor Charlie Hurt, and the Daily Caller White House correspondent Sagar and Jetty. Gentlemen, welcome to all of you.
Thanks. Good to be with you. Here.
Okay, so let me flash up a couple of these polls. The CNN Des Moines Register, top choice for nominees: Biden first, Sanders second, O'Rourke third. Very similar in rural America Iowa poll. The preference there: Biden, Sanders, and O'Rourke, 1, 2, 3, and again. But this is what I find interesting. Also, the polling was: what do you prefer in a candidate, younger or lifetime of experience? Younger candidate 47%, lifetime of experience 31%, and yet we have Biden and Sanders, Sagar, at the top of these polls.
Yeah, it is interesting. Well, I think what it is that you have all the younger candidates, that there's so many of them that they're splitting each other's vote. So what it really Senator Gillibrand is concerned about there, and what they all are, is that there are just so many potential Democratic candidates. It's like we have 2 or 3 that are said to be announcing in the coming days just this week. So we could have, dozens on our hands, which is going to split a lot of that support.
Yeah, Isaac, we still have quite a ways to go, but these things now run in 2 to 4 year cycles. How does this field get winnowed down in a way that possibly unites Democrats? Because you hear there from Senator Gillibrand, she's worried that this doesn't look diverse at all with 3 white guys at the top.
We have a wealth of candidates on the Democrat side. If you look at the Democratic primary right now, I think there are 20 in the poll you referenced. There are as many as 22 legitimate candidates right now in the race. We have a wide field of really talented people who represent every aspect of America and are thankful to have a rich bench of talent to pull from for this primary. Republicans are stuck with Donald Trump. They may have a divisive primary on their side, but I'd take those odds any day of the week.
Well, Charlie, what about that? Because Republicans do a really good job of annihilating each other in the primaries. Democrats seem to do less of that, but you've got some really serious people who are like all in now, and a lot of them. Do they rough each other up enough to make a difference in the general?
Oh, I think without a doubt. And of course, let's not forget, so much of the focus last time in 2016 was on the race between Donald Trump and all those Republicans that he ran against. But of course, there was a pretty feisty fight between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, and a lot of, arguably Bernie Sanders had sort of the momentum behind him, the excitement behind him. And
sometimes people forget he won like 21, 22 primary contests.
And
this was not a blowout by Hillary.
Absolutely. And it went late into the game. And not only that, but we now know, given a lot of the stuff that was going on behind the scenes, that if he had been sort of didn't have so much going against him with the DNC and others trying to help Hillary Clinton, he very well could have gotten the nomination, which of course is ultimately the problem with the thing that Senator Gillibrand talking about, celebrating diversity, which is great and everything. But if you're going to hold out that somehow somebody based on the color of their skin shouldn't be a nominee, that's a real problem. That's the opposite of what Martin Luther King instructed all of us, which is a very good thing, to judge people on the content of their character and not the color of their skin.
Jerry Seib over at the Wall Street Journal says this: the key question is whether the party will find somebody who appeals both to its coastal base, dominated by progressives, upscale college graduates, millennials, and minorities, or choose someone who's more appealing to traditional working and middle-class voters in industrial Midwest states such as Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, all of which helped Democrats reclaim the House in this year's midterm elections. But Sagar, those were the things that helped President Trump sneak up on Hillary Clinton and win.
Yeah, these are some of the most divisive issues that we face. We have people embracing, like Senator Gillibrand, the identity politics that we've seen, which excites the money and the culture, the people who generally have a bigger outsized voice in our media, but it's not necessarily something that is going to excite the people that were lost by the Obama coalition to President Trump. So it's a central concern for any Democrat in this race right now.
Well, and Isaac, how do you feel about this notion that even if Joe Biden ends up to be one of the top frontrunners like he is this early, that there's going to be a serious pull to the left because of the younger, more progressive folks that are running not only in 2020 in the presidential race potentially, but folks that we see on Capitol Hill and this talk of Democrats primarying other Democrats who aren't progressive enough. Do you think there'll be a pull to the left in the primary season for the presidential race?
That's why we have a primary, to determine who's the best candidate, who best represents America and their views. I think you have heartland progressives right from the middle of America, like Governor Bullock from Montana, who are running aggressive primary campaigns that there's a lot of energy behind. I think you have that kind of diversity from every part of the country, every geography, every aspect of the party, every aspect of the country. That's what we need. That's what Democrats have on our side. And it says a lot that Republican talking points right now are all about Republicans trying to debate the Democratic primary in 2 years rather than acknowledge the elephant in the room, which is having Donald Trump as their likely nominee again.
Charlie. Likely nominee. Are we talking to John Kasich sneak attack, or
no? He'll
do you
be
think he'll get other?
I think Bob Corker is certainly talked about it. Flake is
Charlie's not having it.
But honestly, the problem is, and you look at somebody like Amy Klobuchar, who is a very, very appealing candidate, and I think could give somebody like Donald Trump a real run for his money in those places where Donald Trump won the election. But the problem is the party has been pulled so far to the left by the base and by some of this talk about socialism and the sanctuary cities and the no borders crowd, that I don't think that an Amy Klobuchar or a sort of more moderate Midwestern type sensibility Democrat can actually get the nomination.
All right, quickly,
wait a second. The base of the Democratic Party is pulling it to the left. The base of the Democratic Party is pulling it to say Republicans shouldn't take away millions of Americans' health care, to say that it's wrong for a 7-year-old child to die in our country's custody.
We're not going to relitigate that right
That's
now.
That's not the left. That's the center. Those are American values. Those are the values of the
I think that we all agree that nobody wants to see those things happen.
Not like
but very quickly, because we're out of time, essentially, but I want to get this poll up there, our new Fox News poll. How do you feel about the direction of the country? 51% say hopeful. That's up from 10% last year. Each of you just tell me. We'll start with you, Sagar. How do you feel?
I feel very hopeful for 2019.
You're bullish.
Yeah, very bullish.
Isaac?
I mean, I think it's a good year. I think 2019 will be a good year for Democrats going into 2020. I think the poll said that there were an 11-point drop in people's optimism about their own economic circumstances for a 1-year-out period. That's the biggest drop in a Fox News poll of that measurement of people's expectation of their future since 2001.
These polls like this are always sort of hit or miss, but the bottom line is that all of the fury that you get out of Washington among the political types, it's not being felt out there in regular America. People are pretty happy right now, and the economy is going well.
All right, we shall see. Gentlemen, thank you to our power panel tonight, Charlie, Sagar, and Isaac.